Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. With Vanguard not too far around the corner, there's been a fair discussion this last year or so as to whether FaZe now qualify as a dynasty. SlasheR and the Los Angeles Guerrillas guys are looking at the complexity, OpTic dynasties of previous seasons, evaluating who might be better, and SlasheR admitting this may well not exactly get on the right side of the OpTic fanbase. Very much intriguing your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, thought this was kind of funny here from Chino. Crimsix going completely rogue. What did I do? He says, you are straight up blocked on the timeline. I think there's a few players that Crimsix has blocked. I think I remember like he blocked like Methods. That's kind of the famous one at the moment. That you know, Methods like Crimsix is just like taking the mick out of Methods really, because like Methods will occasionally like mention it on the flank or whatever, like you've blocked me, can you unblock me now please? But I think there was something like when he blocked Methods and then they won the next event or something. So Crim is kind of like the ritual now that he keeps Methods blocked and therefore it gives him the best chance when he goes to events. And yeah, maybe it's just like, you know, just get on his wrong side or something. It's pretty entertaining. Doesn't say the good Chino right here, so not really sure what Chino did. Obviously a great guy, but you know, I wonder what will be going on for him next year, because he was on Los Angeles Guerrillas Academy at the end of last season, but they got rid of everyone off that team, I'm pretty sure. So difficult to say what will happen to Chino with no expansion coming in, but then again, you've got to consider there are some other teams out there, like, well, I don't know what Paris are doing, we don't know what the Washington squad are doing if they do come through, like, you know, could Chino be a target for those guys if they are looking for a main assault rifle? Methods and Chino could be reasonable targets for that team, given a lot of these other rosters have snapped up some of the bigger name talents in the league. Vivid, of course, is one that certainly is not the case so far. This from Dallas Empire, another week without Call of Duty Vanguard. Payne says, ILLey right here, and counting down the days certainly are the Vladimir nears. As they say right here, the wait is almost over. Vanguard is still 37 days away, I guess, as of today, 36 days away. So not too bad. It's a relatively far distance, to be honest, but it's still plenty to happen, I'm sure, in October, in Rostermania, and all this type of stuff before the game kicks off and we start talking about the gentlemen's agreements that are going to come up from the pro players, as it tends to be, but also hopefully some early kickoff tournaments, as well, Halo are clearly having, and hopefully Call of Duty can go down a somewhat similar route. This other was pretty interesting, actually, that Deserto tweeted out right here, so from OpTic Formal to Crimsix, you know, that who's cracking the top 7 of, well, highest earning players of all time. So Formal number 7 at, well, 800k, Scump just under the million mark, maybe he'll cross that at some point. Simp has just crossed it now at number 5. aBeZy's just above that mark because he's played for slightly longer than Simp during the World War II season, because I'm pretty sure he's a year older. Our season 3, and then of course Clayster and Crimsix finishing off the job at number 2 and number 1, 1.3 million for Crimsix. That I suppose is why we saw him update his bio just a few days ago. But yeah, very impressive, of course, what these players have achieved. Crimsix and Karma, of course, the players who have been part of both legendary Dynasty eras, from the complexity days way back in Black Ops 2 and then into Ghost, into the OpTic days, right, of more recent times, or really the Jetpack era. It's actually quite a long time ago now, right, because the OpTic Dynasty kind of came to an end in 2017, I suppose, when they won the World Championship, or at least in 2018 when they actually broke up after, I'm pretty sure, that CWL Seattle event. But so yes, that's kind of what's going on right now. Of course, we did just say right then that I looked at when Halo actually came out, and it comes out on the 8th of December. So this event that's going on that we looked at briefly yesterday is just over a week after the game actually comes out. So this is going to be like, if there's a Mickey Mouse ring, right, the Crimsix or whatever won online in Modern Warfare, like this is probably the ultimate Mickey Mouse event. Like it's got to be, right? The fact that it comes out like less than a week after, like, I don't know, it's going to be absolute chaos what's going on at this event. It's going to be so close to release. But you know, hopefully like Call of Duty takes some lessons from this. I think that maybe a week after release is probably pretty ridiculous, but like a month or something could be pretty reasonable. But anyway, that's what Halo are up to, of course. And this is what EasyMax says as well, with the analyst at the FaZe side. Major Halo 27 days after release sounds dope and terrifying at the same time. I wish our season would start that soon. It's you know, better 7 days after release than 3 months after release. But hope maybe some sort of middle ground could be achieved this year. I hope that they're listening to feedback from the pros, because you know, if I was a pro player, I'd certainly be saying, yes, let's give us a tourney slightly earlier in the season, please. I think it would be good for fans and the professional players alike. So this is what Los Angeles Guerrillas come out with yesterday. Is D-tier green for a reason. SlasheR and Gunless ranked the greatest COD rosters of all time, and some of their picks may indeed surprise you. We'll go through their entire tier list here in just a second, but SlasheR breaks down his opinion on the complexity versus OpTic gaming dynasty debate. Initially, he chucks them in D tier and says, you know, this is going to get the OpTic fans riled up, but then he has a pretty reasonable discussion really between what OpTic did over a very long period of time, but also what complexity did while they were dominant. Of course, they did kind of change teams right when they had Clayster in most of the Black Ops 2 days, they had Karma that came in for most of the Ghost days, and you know, making some pretty reasonable discussions on which team is better and how close FaZe are actually to maybe overhauling one of these two.
OG AW to IW. Psych OpTic fans, I know you're gonna hate me for that.
Let's see, I'll put them in D, son. Like, how many events did they win in AW? Because I know they barely won any during the late half into the season.
In AW?
Yeah,
they won the most events, I think, are like really close with FaZe. I think they're definitely an S. My question is,
I mean, yeah,
where? Where
Yeah,
in
no, I
S?
definitely think they're an S as well.
I have two different takes. One, they're either the top of S, in my opinion, or behind Cole.
Yeah.
Hear me out. So they're either the top because they dominated a jetpack era 3 years. My reasoning for maybe putting Cole above them is because personally, from my experience, I thought Cole was a more complete team. They were good at search. OG was not.
I mean, it's no secret. I mean, you literally look through the past years of OpTic gaming being bad at S&D, and you're just like, yeah, that's just a common thing.
I'll put them behind Cole, but above FaZe because they played 3 years. FaZe has been together for 2 years. So FaZe could pass them in the future, but for now, I'll put them third.
So I found this from 2019 from Lionman, CDL Pro Cards, or CWL of course as it was at the time, which is the greatest dynasty. So making cards for each of the dynasty rosters, and I mean, pretty incredible to see, to be honest. This of course, the Complexity dynasty included Clayster and Karma during their kind of era. Exit was TP and it was Crimsix through the entirety of Black Ops 2 and then Ghost. And of course, technically Nadeshot would have been a part, I suppose, of the OpTic Gaming dynasty, because he was in the team right at the start of Advanced Warfare where they won a couple of events, and then of course Formal came in after that. This is the comparison then if you want to look at it from pure statistical perspective. The average placing of Complexity is completely ridiculous, but you do have to consider Complexity played at many less events. This team was from the, I suppose, April 2013 all the way through to September 2014, so they were a team for quite a long time. So I think it certainly qualifies as a dynasty, but it wasn't quite the same as the OpTic team of like 2014, you could say all the way to 2018 when they finally broke up. At the same time, of course, like the dominance within that era of Complexity was truly unprecedented, right? They won like 7 out of 8 events in Black Ops 2. Like, it was just outrageous. Like a 1.68 average placing is just completely absurd over 16 events. LAN series 91 in 12, tournament wins 12, like prize money won a lot, of course. But of course, back in the day, the prizings were much lower than they are today. And at series win-loss percentage at 88.3%. Just absolutely insane. This is, I think like SlasheR has a fair point in the sense as well, that like Complexity were a very well-rounded team. They had pretty much everything you wanted out of a roster, and they were good at every single game mode. They were dominant at search, they were dominant at all the respawns, right? Not only in Black Ops 2, but also going into Ghost to like domination, blitz, this type of stuff. And like also search and destroy as well was a big one. The OpTic team, like I guess through the jetpack era, you could argue that they were carried by talent and by slaying, which is certainly true, dominating all the respawns, but their search and destroy was largely not particularly in depth, or there wasn't too much strategy going on, especially in Infinite Warfare, for example, where you could just 4-hit something and make it work. But that's the game that they were best at in search and destroy, when there was probably the least strategy ever. So it is always an interesting debate, right, which team is better, because the OpTic Gaming dynasty definitely lasted longer, and to do that over the amount of years they did throughout the entire jetpack era was completely ridiculous and unprecedented, and to win the amount of events they did, and the average placing is still very solid, like 18 tournament wins over this time, and the series, 80% win-loss still is absolutely ridiculous over like 4 years or so. But Complexity, while they were a team, were the most dominant in that period, and OpTic was slightly less dominant, but more so over a longer period of time, if you want to look at it from that way. So definitely an interesting discussion to be had there. Of course, the other thing is where do FaZe go, right? From Modern Warfare to Black Ops Cold War. I think this past season was so good that I can understand them putting them in the S tier right here, like Gunless and SlasheR that did this thing, and it makes sense to put them in S, to be honest, behind the two dynasties that FaZe aren't necessarily solidified as quite yet, because Modern Warfare, different team, I'd say, to Black Ops Cold War, because 2 players different, probably should make a fair bit of difference, to be honest, but it is tough to say. The rest of the team's pretty interesting how they've lined them up here. So Empire just behind FaZe and at the top of the A tier. I think that's understandable, right? I mean, Crimsix even said himself, Empire was the best team he'd ever been a part of in terms of work ethic and team culture and that type of stuff. United who won Black Ops 4 champs right here. Advanced Warfare FaZe that had great results against our OpTic towards the end of the title. I'm pretty sure they beat OpTic in 2 best of 7s to win one of those tourneys. Absolutely insane. 100 Thieves and of course lost the world championship to United in Black Ops 4, but they were so good just before the Sorg buff. They get in the A tier as well in their rankings. Rise Nation, of course, where both SlasheR and Gunless played for, at the bottom tier of that, which I think is about fair enough. For Eco Impact is kind of the other team that some people have been considered a dynasty, because they were back in the Black Ops 2 days. They won the world championship. They won like I'm pretty sure they won 4 events in a row or something with the team of Miracles, Killer, Parasite, and Karma, of course. And that team, like some people would actually consider them a dynasty, but it was relatively short-lived. That of course it was only really early half of Black Ops 2 before Complexity came into play. So I understand what they're up to here. I think Envy, honestly, Envy were great in Black Ops 2, like a super good team in Black Ops 3, but pretty tragic most of Infinite Warfare until right at the the end, so I think this is probably fair enough. And then Evil Geniuses, like, they were initially chucked straight out of the D tier, who won the World War II World Championship, and Splice, the Black Ops 3 Splice that came to the grand finals of the World Championship, they get D tier, and I guess someone has to read out there. And Denial, the Advanced Warfare winners, which I guess was Replays, Attached, Clayster, and JCap, they get the C tier as well, which I suppose is about fair enough. So not a bad list overall. I think the S tier definitely makes a lot of sense, but yeah, definitely interesting to hear the reasoning. The SlasheR thinks that, yeah, maybe Complexity were just the more complete team, and that's why we have to, you know, give them the #1 Dynasty spot over OpTic. So very much intrigued to get your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Kevy Skills says Ronaldo, Messi, both scoring a very vintage Ronaldo and Messi goals over these last couple of days in the Champions League. Nah, this is the GOAT. It's Nadeshot, baby. The original member of the OpTic Gaming Dynasty squad. This guy completely does not miss. But very much intrigued to get your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really upset the YouTube icon. I know you enjoyed this content. I hope people like you may enjoy this content as well. And I'm growing the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.
Watch this. Watch this, dude. He's so mad.
Unfortunate guy.
Right there.
Alright guys, that's gonna do it for me for the rest of the stream. Y'all take it easy. Appreciate you watching, alright? We'll see ya.
One enemy remaining.